I'm Emanuelle Stewart, and this is a common sense budget. You know what? A lot of my life, I used to live in Laguna Beach, a place that hasn't seen a minority since the 1860s, for the most part. So when I first came there, to top of the world for most, I go and asked them to enroll, my mom, my dad, and such, and I go and asked them. They didn't believe we lived there. So they asked me to produce all this information, a social security card, records that our house was there. It was a whole ordeal. And it took me 3 days to even enter there. But once I was there, I was exposed to one specific minority, a conservative. Everyone there was liberal. So most of the time I was around liberals, talking with liberals. And finally, when I was this ripe age of 16 or I think 14 or 15, I decided, you know what? I want to be around different amounts of people who aren't liberal. So I decided to find myself, JSerra, and go and expose myself to a different atmosphere that I wasn't used to. Very, very scary on my part because everyone at Thurston, the middle school I was at, was telling me that it was a bad idea to go to JSerra. I'll be broke, I won't have any money, and everyone would hate me. Lucky for me, they were all wrong. But I found myself conversing with a lot of conservatives about the budget. Because politics in the school is a very big focal point. And they always normally tell me in this type of thing is, why? Why vote for Medicare for all? Why do all this type of stuff? Why? And I always spar with them about those type of issues and I hold my ground. But when I finally reach a breaking point, they go and start doing grandstanding. And they tell me, Manny, this doesn't make any sense. This budget, this very plan, which you're supposed to do, doesn't have a single sense of common sense to it. And I tell them, well, I'm going to show you how much sense this is in. And that's why I made a common sense budget. And in some type of plan, I will go over why Medicare for all. I will go over how to implement and cut the budget by half. I will implement different ways on reducing the deficit. Unfortunately, there's some nuance to this. First off, why did I add a physics equation into there? Well, I think the best way to go and explain this is that I'm not going to have any friction in this presentation. In other words, I'm not going to explain how I'm going to go and do this. I'm not going to explain the political representations or the workarounds I'm going to do and implement these plans, because that would just take too much time. And unfortunately, I only got around 10 minutes to go and explain to you. So, I'm going to explain you the how. Another nuance to this presentation here is that this is not Bernie Sanders or prominent political candidates' plans who are recommending this. Bernie is not saying this. I'm saying this. And it's very fortunate that I'm saying this because this would take a long while to implement in itself. But in this perfect world where Manny's president and has a legislative body and has the Congress and has no type of pushback from anyone, this is the type of plan I would recommend to make sure it's common sense. So, first presentation, economics, not magic. I'm going to go over in this type of presentation, simple economics. Every one of the statistics here is real. I researched it. You can go and research it for yourself. I have an entire source page, size of the Bible. You can go and research it. So, cost of Medicare for all. Bernie says $1.6 billion, $2 trillion. At the highest, according to many studies, such from my MRI or those type of prestigious universities that I want to go to. You know, that's where most of the studies come from, but they failed to implement one simple thing. They failed to implement the drug negotiation prices Bernie has in his plan. He's going to negotiate the drug companies, make sure they're giving a fair type of rate, and make sure and lower down the price of that amount of stream. Honestly, on this type of plan, I'm going with our. Now, there is a way to go and implement his plan another way and go for that $2 trillion amount, but again, I have a limited amount of time here. Next. What?
What happened? Oh boy, that's not good. I'm sorry, something happened with the slides. I told you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on track. Cost of free public college. So universities like UC Berkeley, which is another university that's very dear and dear to my heart, would give everyone free college. Considering this, according to many studies, $19 billion. At the highest, $24 billion. That's pretty good compared to free healthcare. Getting rid of the deficit.
What is happening?
Yeah. Sorry,
I'm so sorry, Manny.
no, it's fine.
Sorry about this, guys. Technical difficulties. This is the first time any of us have ever done this.
You're pressing this button, right?
I think so, yeah. I'm assuming so. So, like I said, let's go into getting rid of the deficit. A very important part. Visualize $19 billion, $900 billion. That's how much the deficit is currently right now. We're going to try cutting that in half. On a perfect world, we should get rid of that, and it would cost around, in my final page, about cutting things. It would cost to get rid of the deficit by half, around this much, along with free healthcare, along with free college. This is how much we need to go and get this done with. This is a realistic world that I will show to you. It's pretty simple. Another part of the spending is getting rid of the deficit fully, along with these type of benefits that I believe are very useful. So let's start with the very process of getting rid of this deficit. I'm going to go through a lot of stuff here and allow you to go into wrap around this. So this is the military budget right here. It's around that much, that big, that type of amount. This is how much a case costs for the amount of wars we have done this entire year. US has done so many types of wars that every single year we're involved in one single war. I don't know the reasoning behind it, and it seems like the White House doesn't have much reasoning behind it either. So I don't know most of why we're in these type of wars. We're mostly starting with $500 billion to immediately end all the wars. This is how much we'll be saving. This is not how much it costs, but this is, if we were to go, again, many democracy, we'll move back every single troops here and get them back to the US, and we'll remove, maybe negotiate with the UN with a type of peacekeeping force there for certain little tight zones like Kuwait, I don't know. Then maybe we can save that amount of money. Next, when I talk about ending all wars, I'm talking about ending every single war. And one of the biggest wars which we have engaged and started by the biggest man there to be impeached, Mr. Richard Nixon, who I almost forgot his name for a second, who started the drug war for numerous amounts of occasions and reasons, but it's been proven by Richard Nixon that this was mostly started as a political move. How do I know this? To lock up minorities and such who weren't voting this type of way. Because they outright go and tell us in this type of thing. They have videotapes where it's like, yeah, we just locked them up because they weren't voting for us, so they'll serve a lot better in prison. Didn't work out. Certain statistics and such. If you are black and you're caught smoking weed for some numerous reason, and you are caught doing that, and you appear in front of a judge, well, you better hope that you suddenly turn white, because you're most likely to be locked up in prison because of that issue. There are around that much of non-violent drug offenders in the US today, and drug rates, which we hoped would go down with this coming issues. And everyone will be living in a nice society. Well, they have increased. And we have been spending this constantly with $1 trillion in 1971 because of this issue. The drug rate hasn't decreased. Minorities are facing the heat of this type of issue. And it was all started from a disgraced president who said he wasn't a crook, but ended up going to Watergate and spying his political enemies. Not very much of a crook to me. Next one, tax reform. This is very important. This is another way of catching some income. That's how much we lose today in tax evasion money. Simply, you don't write your tax check, you get away with it. A lot of people get away with it. The government's constantly, what do? You send them a check. You do your taxes, which a lot of teachers in JSerra initially have problems with that. And they go and tell me, it takes a long time to do taxes. And I'm starting to think, you're taking time out of your day to pay the government? What sense does that make? And first off, don't they go and send you receipts? My mother received one of these receipts before from the IRS, which is probably the scariest stuff to receive in the mail, saying that the IRS is wanting to see you there. And most of these type of receipts is correcting your decisions, which it would make sense in a math test, but this isn't a math test, this is a country. The government possesses enough information to do your taxes for you with no expenses needed to raise they have enough power to go and decide what you're doing or going to eat next day because of the NSA. So it doesn't make any sense why we have to do taxes. Other nations like France, they send you a check. Britain, they'll send you a check. Europe, practically everyone, the government sends you a check. You send them a check, you're good. But in the United States of America, it doesn't work that way. We should go and fix that. Simple enough. And most of this is circumstantial with corporate welfare. United States corporations are not paying any taxes. I've gone through the list. At the highest, they're paying negative 51%. For their income, they are being sent a check for billions of dollars in income out of your pocket. Doesn't sound fair. At the lowest, negative 1%. Amazon, negative 1%. Activision and Blizzard, negative 51% on their national income. Doesn't make any sense. These are companies with big pockets, big amounts of stuff, and huge amounts of money. Why aren't they paying taxes? They have to go after my middle income dad for a simple tax return, but they don't go after Blizzard? That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. The effective corporate tax rate is 21%. So in turn, I find it fair that we cancel and let them pay 21%. Totally. Fair enough. It was practically cut from them. Second, we are sending them subsidies. This can include research. ExxonMobil is receiving the highest of this. ExxonMobil is receiving around, I believe, $2.5 billion in income for research in algae, which they found out they have not been researching algae with it, but giving payouts to their executives. So why on earth are we sending them money? They are the most profitable company in the world. If they wanted to research algae and find a way to solve global warming, they can do it. We don't need to send them money. So, if corporations, well, here's what we do. Corporations, this amount of profits a corporation earns a day. I haven't gone through the exact list on what corporation pays what and everything else. I'm pretty sure it'll be a lot bigger, but that takes a lot of time. So we decided to go and take the corporate profits and then simply divide that by 21%, and we get that amount. A mass budget increase, simple enough. Now, let me summarize this in my page. Solutions and savings. So, to simply do and summarize every single point here. If we were to free every single non-violent drug offender, simply the people caught just smoking weed, they're not much of a crime in our society besides their lungs, so you might as well don't release them. They should be allowed to earn a minimum age income, subtracted from the unemployment rate, so that's how much it is right now. We can earn around that much amount in income. Along with legalization of marijuana, which is tax revenue, which is legal in California, and should probably be legal federally wise, we can earn that amount of money. Decriminalizing all drugs, so that doesn't mean that you can buy crack from CVS. That means that this simply means that if you're caught selling it to like a kid or something, you will be thrown in jail for it as a felony. But if you are caught smoking it or doing anything else, you'll be automatically contributed to a rehab. This happens in Switzerland, and in Portugal they go a lot more extreme with this. In Portugal, you won't believe that every drug there is legal, including the most extreme ones. Drugs like crack, meth. You go and show that to a police officer, they won't arrest you. Maybe they might give you a snare, but they won't arrest you. In the United States, you will be arrested. Probably for good reason here, but if you're selling it, yeah, you probably should be thrown in prison. Ending all wars, simply ending all that. $500 billion, pretty self-explanatory. Remove all the troops from all those type of big hot button zones like the Middle East. Simple enough. Cutting the military budget by 25%. It's already big enough. There's already the company, the biggest corporate, the country that most follows us in the military is China. China is very much not ahead of us, and most of their military budget is not going to our type of, start. They're mostly in maintenance. So we will still be the most powerful country in the entire world. We will still have enough to go around and do anything we want. It's pretty much the bare minimum. We still be top. Reclaiming all tax evasion money, pretty simple. Send them a check. They don't pay the check. We go after them. Simple enough. Cutting off corporate subsidies to ExxonMobil and other types of corporations that have plenty of profits to do whatever they want with, so I don't think they need our help with it. And eliminating corporate tax evasion and resulting to ourselves to maybe around 10% or such. That's a recommendation from a couple of sources. I haven't done that to the math. That's at the 21%, but I will do it to 10% a little later. Now let's talk about spending. Now, simply to reduce the deficit by 50%, to simply give ourselves free college, free healthcare, we will get ourselves that amount of surplus back. We will have extra money. Now this doesn't mean this is budget surplus, this can simply go to the deficit or such, but I wanted to go and experiment with some other policies I wanted to go with, such as student loan debt and medical debt. Student loan debt is if you went to Berkeley, you don't have enough money to go to Berkeley, then you go to a nice loan officer and you go and ask them for a nice little loan. If you somehow, once you get out of college, you have to go and seek to repaying that loan and such through effective rates. Now the problem with this type of loan system is that it's different from a personal loan is that you can't bankrupt from it. If you go bankrupt from it, then you better pray to God on this one. They will hunt you down. They will put liens on your house, they'll siphon your income, they'll find a way to get their money back, which has lots and lots of economic ramifications. And one of that is that those people are not spending money like buying churros and such. They're using their money that is not in an economically sound way. Student loan debt crisis, to me people, that's how much student loan debt is right now. It's way too big, and it shouldn't even be there in the first place. In other first world countries, student loan debt is, going to college is free. So I don't understand why it's not free in the United States. Second, you can't default on a loan. It doesn't free up the economy. Over a 10-year period, over my recommendation here, using the money as such, we will resolve all student loan debt, which will allow around adding $181 in GDP per year, which was great because it allows us to get rid of the deficit. Let's talk about medical debt. Same amount of debt. You break your arm in this stage, and I can't walk anymore, and I have to go to the doctor. Ambulances cost $2,000 a pop, and I think in other states, but in Florida, it's $2,000. It's huge amounts of money to go to, even to be transported to the hospital. And even once you're transported to the hospital and you need life-changing surgery, well, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Literally, because you're probably going to have to give up your arm and a leg to pay for the surgery. And it's going to be hard. And second law, you're going to have to go and invest and give people. You're going to have to go and invest. You're going to have to go and ask people and loan officers to go and ask for a loan for those type of occurrences. And such, same type of results with student loan debt. First, you can't default on it, you can't go bankrupt, it's way too hard to do, and it restrains the economy. And again, it adds $185 to the budget per capita. Second, tax cut. With the extra money we have, we should free up to tax cut to the middle class and poor. The real people of this backbone of this country. Don't want to sound like a politician, but yeah, they are the backbone of this country. And such, every single tax cut given to the middle class, given to the poor, and all this type of people, we add 7 jobs to the economy. 861 million jobs will be added to the economy. If they're minimum wage jobs, I'm probably speaking today, we will get ourselves that amount of money back to our federal budget, which will ensure that we don't get a deficit again. Now, what's the real conclusion of this entire speech? Well, the real conclusion here is that it doesn't take an economist or a person with an MBA from the University of Chicago to figure out a way to solve the United States budget. It doesn't take a simple political spectrum or a simple adoption from a